All right, guys, so now we're going to talk about could and be able to, and we're going to talk about ability in the past. So things that we could do in the past, things we did in the past. Okay, so let's have a look at number one. When talking about ability, could means past can. A general ability, something you did easily and well in the past, okay? So maybe you want to talk about how as a kid you could play marbles really well, or you could play basketball really well, or you could ride a horse, or you could read. You could read by the time you were 5, or you could walk at 1 year old. Okay, so they're things that you were able to do, things that you did easily and well in the past. Okay, so for example, here I've got I could speak Italian when I was a child. Peter was a great football player at high school. He could play really well. Mary could ride a horse from 5 years old, and I couldn't ride a bike until I was 10. Okay, so when we use could, we use the subject. So in this sentence, I've got he could play really well. So he is my subject, could is could, play is V1, and really well is an adverb. Okay, so I'm just going to add it as a complement, okay, because it's extra information. All right, so let's have a look here. He could not play very well. So that's my negative sentence. So he is my subject, could is could, not is not. Play is V1, and very well, again, I'm just going to put that down as my complement. Okay, so that's the order that we put it in. So for the question, could he play well? And then, of course, this is a closed question because the answer is going to be yes, he could, or no, he couldn't. So we use could plus, so could he play well? You've got could, he is your subject, play is your V1, and well again is your complement. Again, it's the adverb there. All right, and then the last question, how could he play? This kind of is a little bit of a strange question that we wouldn't often ask. Normally we would say, how did he play when he was a kid, or did he play well as a kid? Because we use how could you or how could he, often we use that as anger. Okay, so I might say to my husband, how could you speak to me like that? Or how could you crash my car? Okay, or if I'm talking about my kid, maybe I'll say, how could he forget to do his science homework? Or how could he leave his lunchbox at home? Which I actually did say about my son about 2 weeks ago. So how could you or how could he is often an expression of anger or frustration. Okay, but nevertheless, the way we form it, so this is the open question, and then so the question word is how, then you've got could, then you've got he is your subject, and then play is V1. All right, so that's could. So what we're going to have a look at now is to be able to in the past. So like could, we use to be able to talk about ability in the past. So something that you can do easily, you can do well, a general ability. So I was able to speak Italian when I was a child. Peter was a great football player at high school. He was able to play really well. Mary was able to ride a horse from 5 years old. I wasn't able to ride a bike until I was 10. Again, okay, it is more formal, all right? I was able to ride a horse is much more formal than I could, all right? So if we're just talking in a general situation, like in a casual situation, we would use could. All right, now this is a little bit tricky. We use to be able to in the past for situations that were difficult or challenging and that happened at a specific time in the past. Could is not correct in these situations. So could is always for a general ability, but to be able to we use for something that was difficult at a specific time. Okay, so example for me, a good example would be, I was able to pass my certificate while I was working and taking care of my kids. Okay, so I'll just say that for you again. I was able to pass my certificate while I was working and taking care of my kids. So it was a really difficult situation. I was studying and working and taking care of my family, but I did it. All right. So some other examples would be, I was able to swim from Perth to Rottnest, but I never want to do it again. Okay. Peter was able to pass his driving test finally. Okay. Again, these are things that that is a specific time in the past, like one time. My dad was able to recover from his heart attack. All right. So it's something that we did at a specific time in the past. All right, so this is also, so just going back to number 2 here, this one I said I was able to swim from Perth to Rottnest, but I never want to do it again. I can't say I could swim from Perth to Rottnest. It's not correct. So when we're talking about a once time or a specific time, we must use able to. All right. Okay, so let's have a look at number 3. Can or could for ability only describes the present, so we can use can, or the past. Okay, so we can't use can or could for the future. Okay, we can't use can or could to describe something that started in the past and continues now. Okay, we can't use can or could to describe something that happened before something else in the past. All right, can and could is only present or past. So sometimes we need more detail than this. So we need able to, because we can put it in other grammar tenses. Okay, usually we don't usually use it with continuous tenses. Okay, usually perfect and simple. So for example here, I can say I am able to speak Italian. I was able to speak Italian. So that's your simple present and your simple past. I have been able to speak Italian. That's your present perfect. I had been able to speak Italian is your past perfect. I will be able to speak Italian is your simple future. I might be able to speak Italian is your might, is your modal verb. I am going to be able to speak Italian is going to. All right, so with able to, we've got all these choices here, but with can and could, we don't. We've only got past and present. All right, so they're the differences between can and could for ability. All right, so when we, it's quite useful language when we're talking about formal writing and also about looking for jobs and stuff and applying for jobs. This is quite good knowledge to have, so could and would be and to be able to. So just to finish up, I'm just going to have a quick look at the form of to be able to. All right, so you can see here I was able to speak Italian. I've got I as a subject, was or were. So if it's I was, she was, he was, they were, we were, you were. Okay, so it's going to change depending on your subject. Then you've got able to, speak is V1, and Italian is your object. Okay, sorry, I got a mistake there. All right, so the negative, I was not able to speak Italian. Okay, and then the contraction is wasn't. All right, I'll just put that in blank. All right, so I is your subject, was or were, same thing. If your subject changes, this needs to change. Not is not, able to, speak is V1, and Italian is your object. Okay, here I've got the closed question. Were you able to speak Italian? Again, we've got was or were, depending on your subject. Able to, Speak is V1 and Italian is object. And then our open question, which languages were you able to speak? We've got the question word plus was or were plus your subject plus able to plus speak is V1. Alright guys, I hope that helps you if you're having problems with that. Like I said, this is really useful language for looking for jobs, job searching, and other formal pieces of writing. So yeah, alright guys, thanks very much. Do your practice activities and I will Skype you soon. Okay, bye.